Okay, Lori.
Okay, whenever you're ready.
Ready to go? All right. Good afternoon. It's me and Stacey and Lori. We're back in the studio.
And it's a hot one.
Man, it's a hot day, but let the truth be told. And so I thank the Lord for you. I thank the Lord for all the listeners, all the watchers that's out there that watch the program that I see constantly during the week that say, man, I seen you on television. Say, who's your buddy? And I tell them who Stacey is, and I tell them about Lori and Mr. Henderson and the funeral home, the insurance business. And so it's just relationship building. And I thank the Lord for it. I mean, you know, he gets all the glory and honor for that. So introducing my friend Stacey here, my sister, my partner, my business partner.
And right-hand man.
Yeah, right-hand man. You know, he ain't a lot of muscle, but he a lot of brains. And so, but I turn it over to Stacey, and you're going to lead us into what we're going to discuss this afternoon.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Williams and Lori, for taking your valuable time to shoot this almost 11th or 12th episode. I don't know. We've got a lot of them on YouTube. Sean, I just couldn't leave out this opportunity to, you know, give you your kudos and your much adoos on your recent article here, Least Likely to Succeed. For all those who haven't seen it, it was on Sunday. It was published on Sunday, May 27, 2012. And if you haven't seen it, the News Gazette sells back issues for 75 cents, and they'll go in the basement and get you one. So without any further ado, just kind of espouse on that article for us and kind of just go into some of your feedback that you received from the community and take it from there.
You know, Stacey, I feel honored that by the young man from the University of Illinois that decided to do a story on me. I'm honored by that, and just kind of share with him for about a month and a half, 2 months, and just share with him, and it kind of opened my heart up and told him a little bit about my story. He got to meet the guys down at the shop, meet a lot of the customers, meet some of my brothers.
Whitney Houston Memorial Concerts where you originally
met him at. Okay, and then, but yeah, he came by the shop, and I was able to talk to him and tell him my story, tell him from, you know, my humble beginnings long ago when I was about 6, and talk about some things that maybe went wrong in my life, some tragedies that happened in my life, and but you know, you got to pick that article up. I mean, that article is telling a lot, giving a lot of good information, and so what happened is that I've had great feedback. I mean, I've had people that said, I read that story, man, and I knew you for a long time, but I didn't know all that about you. You know, and a lot of times people see you for face value. They see you for where you're at right now.
Right.
They don't see you when you were down and you were out and you were struggling or you was hurt, you know, and you're going through something, or, you know, just trials and I guess the trials and the tribulations that, you know, might get you to where you're at right now. So a lot of times people don't see you for that, but I've had people and I had a couple of people that said, oh, you didn't have to say all that. You didn't have to tell people all that. And to those people I told them, well, you don't know about testimony service. You don't know about God, because, you know, my thing is that to tell somebody else my story, so you have to split your head to the big part to understand that you can go a different route. You can go about it a different way.
Yeah, and to interject a little bit on that story can also be viewed at newsgazette.com online, Least Likely to Succeed. But to get into the meat and the potatoes of the article, let's kind of break it down into your civic and functions and civic, business, philanthropic activities, and how you roll that into 2 or 3 business ventures on top of that, plus being a family man. Let's kind of get into point by point what that article was meant to talk about from an adversity standpoint, with as an example, one of your teachers that told you you'll never be anything. Let's kind of start with that.
Start right there. Least likely to succeed. I mean, and from the climate, from the environment that I was in, you know, the teacher told me that. I had a teacher tell me that, and I had a principal over there about it. Stop telling people that. Y'all stop doing that. My teachers, my educators, don't do that to young people, because everybody can't fall and get back up. So, but one of the things that least likely to succeed, and when he told me that, you know, from the environment that I came back, and the school bus dropped me back in, that environment, the climate looked that way. The water was that, you know, rigid, you know, and so And then and on top of that, compiled tragedies, you know. I mean, losing a brother,
so close to
losing a brother at 6 years old and kind of watching him at death, you know. And so then having another brother die, and then, you know, and then having another brother die, and then having things all around you just going wrong. Your friends maybe going to jail. Just in a gangbanger type environment back then, you know, people pulling you one way or another and trying to stay sane and stay focused, you know. I mean, it's tough on young people. So, but least likely to succeed, man, it gave me fuel. I'm not mad at that teacher. Today, I'm not mad at that teacher. I thank you for telling me that. Because my nephew Jamar always says, your perception is your reality. So if you're looking at a young guy right there, you see him not trying to do anything, you see him not trying to focus in school, you see his mom and dad, they're not trying to do anything, participate in any type of school function and things like that, then that might come to your brain. You least likely to succeed, because you most likely is likely not to succeed.
Yeah, but you know, the whole point that I took from that was you turn that negative into a positive. At the end of the day, that kind of sparked that small seed that could grow up through that concrete and actually sprout and germinate and turn into an oak tree. So that's huge on that front.
And then what we did capture on that article, we captured about four points that we do.
Yeah, let's start with the insurance.
That's the insurance. We got in the insurance business because of the fact that 27 of our families we first opened the funeral home, 17 of our families didn't have insurance.
Man, that's a horrible percentage.
I mean, 17 families didn't have insurance. We weren't so engaged to be an insurance agent. We wanted to see what the research and the feedback was. What's going on in the community? Why hadn't anybody sound the alarm off to say, hey guys, let's get some insurance around in this community.
Take care of this.
Let's take care of the problem. And but we see, we like this. We like stuff to fester and fester. It's not my problem. It's their problem. I got insurance. They should have insurance.
Right.
We made it our business to get in the insurance business so we can get with families way before the time comes when you need that insurance.
Man.
And you might not need your auto insurance. You might not need your homeowner's insurance, but you definitely gonna need your life insurance.
Hallelujah.
That's one thing you're gonna need. So take that out your brain.
Yeah.
Keep that locked in, prepared. Don't leave the burden on somebody else to be able to handle your responsibility. That's your responsibility.
That's your handle your load.
We've seen people go from a loving family member to people get disgusted.
Man.
You know, because they want to do something but they can't do nothing. You know, because their hands are tied. And so we all love our people, but if you hurting already, and then this guy that left you in a hurting position, and then he didn't pass on, and then you lost some income, then that's just a compound situation that leaves us where we
plenty of work. We got plenty of cotton to pick, don't we?
And people ain't trying to help people bury nobody. I'm keeping it 100 and real.
Okay, let's turn this into a soft sale. Let's go to the civic.
Okay.
And that's really one of my favorite things, is because that incorporates CCAP and your working relationships with those great city folks in Champaign, and that kind of brings a bright point to my day, kind of hearing vicariously through you about that interplay, because you don't do that for profit. As you've often said to me, when I'm sitting around that room, I'm not getting a check, and that ought to make you feel pretty good.
Oh yes, sir. And life to me is about giving back. It's not really, my life is not really for me, it's for the people that's around me, the people that tap in. You got to tap in, it's like God, you got to tap in to get the blessing. Well, when we're led by God, then you got to tap into those people that's led by God, where you see a light shining over them, then you tap in. I see a light in Senator Farragus. I see a light in Don Gerard. I see a light in Councilman Kyles and my nephew Jamar Brown and Chief Conley and Chief Cobb.
Positivity.
I see the positive. I don't care if you're Democrat, I don't care if you're Republican. I connect with good hearts. And those people, they care about the community. Everything they do and they talk about community. That's about us. It ain't about we, it's about us. And so that's going to make us all better and live in Champaign a lot more safer, a lot more better. And so that just makes everything better to me.
That kind of reminds me of a famous musical, Broadway musical called The Ring. And the whole, what I took from it anyway, I'm not a critic by any means, but the whole thing I took from that was what is your measure of your life? And what I took that their message was in The Rent. What a great play. I recommend everybody to see it. Is that not what you get, but what you give, and that seems to be such a image of that. So I really commend you on that.
What I take out of that, what you just said, is that a lot of times we're looking for a monetary gain, and everything's not going to be monetary. Everything's not going to come to you in the form of money. So, and then when we say give, people thinking give money. No, you can give your time. You can give a kind word.
You can give a organ, do an organ transplant for that matter, and
you could and talking about relationships, because we've been talking about relationships from this morning's radio program to at church. We were talking about relationships, and you can give and not have it like. And I'm gonna give you a prime example: giving, not participating in something.
Sure.
Gossip, not participating in the gossip. Bitterness, not participating in bitterness.
Or cleaning yourself off of it.
Yeah, you stand away from it. That's giving too, because you're not participating. You're not a player, a key player into the mess. Because God is not in the midst of any mess. He in the midst of prosperity and blessing people and saving folks and making them understand that He's in control. And a lot of times, people miss out when they don't connect with some type of higher thinking, higher belief thinking,
Higher power.
Because
Something bigger than
something bigger than yourself. And we got such a selfish society where it's all about me. And if it's all about you, what was that scripture that we read? Woe to those
who walk through the woods alone.
Woe to those.
To the man who walks through the woods alone.
Yeah, you can't be in an island by yourself and think that you're going to be successful and only come and you get community things when you need it. Vote only. You don't pay attention to politics during the year, and you want to vote only one time because Obama's running.
Yeah, that seems kind of one-sided, and a relationship by definition is a win and a loss on either alternate days. It's a give and a take, and there really can't be a successful relationship without that bond.
What was that? I think that came out with a song, said it's a 50-50 love. I think it might have been Teddy, but he said it's a 50-50 love. Now, we'll go into a relationship really wanting to be 50-50, but it's almost never 50-50.
No.
And some days it's gonna be 70-30. And one way or another, the friend, whoever the relationship is being built upon, it might go their way one day, and then it might go your way the next.
Yeah. Well, let's talk. We don't want to bore you guys with that, go too deep, but let's go into your church. The church part. Not was pleased by that because you've got a lot of good church relationships. Firstly, your home church, which used to be Church of the Living God, and now here more recently, Pastor Lakevi Johnson over at Jericho. So let's go into a little bit about that and how you derive a lot of your strength to get through what we'll discuss next, which is your numerous business ventures.
Stacey, I love Pastor Johnson. We just left there. It was his birthday yesterday.
Happy birthday, Pastor.
Happy birthday, Pastor. And then it was my birthday on Friday, and he sent me a text saying, that's why we get along so well, one day after the next, But I thank the young man for his teaching, his wisdom in teaching the word and taking it line by line. I was telling you earlier, precept by precept, breaking that thing, giving you that history, breaking that thing down for you. And so I thank the Lord for him. I mean, young man's growing over there. I'm going to do everything I can to help the young man grow because I know that he's leading people down the right path. And I thank the Lord for him. Not saying anybody else didn't lead people down the right path. Not saying that at all. But I know that I can work with him and we can work with young people and make young people successful, like the summer youth program that kicks off tomorrow at 1:30. I thank the Lord for the city of Champaign being kind and generous enough to help us with our young people.
That's going to be June 11th.
June 11th. And I thank the Lord for the city of Champaign and all those great people up there in the city of Champaign and the citizens of Champaign for allowing us to be able to serve some of these young people and be able to introduce them into the workforce.
Yeah.
But because, I want to jump this in there because the one thing the Bible speaks upon that, and even if sometimes I fall off astray on the Bible, that's my blueprint. So I'm always give it to you biblical what's right, And the Bible says if a man don't work, he shouldn't eat. And I'm riding off that principle because I hate lazy, I hate weak, I hate wimps, I hate people that give up. I don't like those stories.
We call them quitters.
Yeah, quitters. I don't like that. You can fall and get back up. You know, brush it off. I seen a young man today when I was leaving church, and his girl left him, and I know what he's going through, and I kind of seen him, and he fall off, and he fell all the way off. So I was on my way to get over here on time, but I'm gonna double. If the Lord bless, I'm gonna double back on him and tell him, man, come on, pick it up, man, pick yourself up, because that's the one way. You know, I mean, that's taking you down, and every time we have a tragedy, every time that we have a I remember being in the military, Stacey, and I'm gonna give it to you real quick. I remember being in the military, and I went to the range, and it was probably 300 or 400 of us in our company, but we was broken down to platoons, and then the guy, I went to the range, and we supposed to got 40, we shot 40 out at targets, and I shot, you had to get like a 27 to qualify. I shot like a 23.
Wow.
So we had to march behind all the rest of the 300 people in our little group, about 40 of us that didn't qualify. And we had to yell to the top of our lungs, left, right, bolo. Left, right, bolo.
Oh, man.
Everybody on post knew we didn't qualify. You know.
Humiliation.
Straight humiliation. But it made you focus. I went back to my dorm, sat down with my manual, found out what I was doing wrong, and then which was breathing.
Right.
Because in order to be a good marksman, you need to have proper breathing. Yeah. And so I learned that was my problem. Is squeeze, squeeze, and you not jerk, so those were the things I learned. And then speaking about that, you guys get out there, be safer with these guns. You got to have proper training to be able to deal with a weapon. So, and don't point it at nothing you ain't willing to destroy. Take out of here. Kaput. So I want to throw that shot out of here because we spent off a service and of one of the young men. I thank the Lord for Pastor Nathaniel Williams over there at New Foundation. Just a powerful man of God over there. I thank the Lord for Miss Wanda, the young man's mom, strong lady. I think she's going to be even stronger after this tragedy that happened in her life. I mean, just a powerful lady, and you just keep on letting the Lord guide you, man, because she was just a great person through that whole flick. From start to finish, powerful, holding her family together. And, I big shouts out to all the moms out there that's holding it down.
And Community Plus, Bank Canada.
I just cannot say enough of moms that's holding it down. I mean, that's really, and one of the things, I seen one of the things in your paper today.
Babies, raising babies.
You know what I'm saying? And to be able to recognize and mature. Because once you have a child, no matter what age you are, it takes maturity.
And you're a grown person at that point.
Exactly. You're grown at that point.
Whether you are or not, numerically.
My mom used to say, you want to be grown, you want to act grown, then you're grown. And that's how it is. Because people don't got a lot of time to focus and put to place investment into you. Because it's a selfish society.
Yeah, to dovetail off on that.
Now, when we going to get to 24/7?
The name of our show today is 24/7, but we just got to cut through this, least likely to succeed. But not to belabor that the church aspect of what you do, but kind of in a concise statement, tell the people how church benefits you. Let's make it a little bit more universal than just your individual pastor, because you and I both know there are a lot of pastors in this town. So let's try to nip it in the bud.
A lot of times we don't read, Stacey. So we gotta listen. So we gotta get it from interpretation of somebody else that we respect.
Sure.
So in getting an interpretation, you only gonna be as good as the leader.
Sure.
You only gonna be good as the trainer. So the young man, I go back to the young man that over in the young baby over in Urbana that got killed. Sure. I go back to the young man called himself showing his nephew how to use a weapon and how it's safe.
Without the proper training.
Without the proper training. You're only gonna be good at it. See, in his case, his trainer killed him. So how many of us are spiritually getting killed, economically getting killed? Just not getting the proper training because our trainer, the person that we respect, is not giving us the tools we need to survive. So, and that's the way I look at it. I thank the Lord for the military giving me a mindset to even think about survival.
So the power to kind of just pour into that book on your own, when you get a minute just to invest.
Let's say, it says show yourself to be approved. So reading it for yourself,
Right.
because you don't have to worry about it's no goal between you and God. It's a personal relationship.
Sure.
When you kick the bucket and you come through here and your soul goes to heaven or judgment, it's not gonna be me and Stacey.
Right.
Me and Stacey. You go by yourself.
And that's kind of like the Titanic. It reminds me of that classic that they're still playing back from the 80s. And when that ship went over, there was folks from every socioeconomic status. But at the end of the day, you were either saved or you weren't saved. And that kind of reminded me of that.
Yeah.
You came in alone and you're going to leave alone.
My mama said your neighbor with a dollar bill.
I love it when you tell me.
I love older people. They didn't have a whole lot of education. Unlike probably even me and probably greatly yourself. Which degrees that you had,
Lori.
and Lori with her degrees, but they had a lot of great sayings that helped steer them on the right path.
Cliche.
Yeah, little cliches that they passed along through groups and through church groups or social networks that they passed along, and they taught it to their kids and they passed it down. A lot of times we don't know nothing no more. So we can't pass nothing down to no kids because we ain't trying to tap into nothing. We ain't picking up no book. We watching, we letting the television tell us everything.
And watch us.
News ain't even news no more, it's gossip.
In reality, is that what they call gossip?
Even late night, I'm looking for some late night news, and it's late night gossip.
You can watch us late night at 4 a.m. on Saturday morning.
Give me something where I can be better. After I watch your program, I can be better, I can grow. But and I will always say it in probably every episode that you see me in, always remember the devil here to kill, steal, and destroy.
Yes, sir.
So when my brother Joe used to beat me in the chest because he knew the struggles, and he was older than me, he knew the struggles that was facing us as a family, and he would beat me in the chest and say, Sean, treat yourself special because nobody else will. It stuck with me even to this day.
Yeah.
Treat yourself. I thank my brother Joe
That's
for
a
that.
strong testimonial for family and how family can really kind of mold you. Sometimes we call that tough love.
Oh yeah.
And as a unit, it seems like our families are really crumbling right now. We really need to try to revert back to that.
Yeah, we got to care about our people, and we didn't want to disrespect my mom and mess our name up. The name meant something. And so, and not everybody's going to follow that right teaching. Everybody's going to follow that path. Everybody can get it right the first time. That's why the Lord said repent. So, and we got to be able to forgive each other.
Yeah.
Forgiveness is a major piece, man.
Because
how can God forgive you, but you not forgive your brother or your sister?
hurt people.
Hurt people. When you regurgitate that, and that's what your light gonna be. Let your light so shine. That's what your light look like.
Yeah,
Because you're bitter, you rolled up, your face rolled up all the time. I love Bishop Gwynn because every time I see Bishop Gwynn, he got a great smile.
He got
He's showing
$1 million smile.
Yeah, I love him because he's always smiling. He's always receiving, and got that inviting look on his face. And even if something wrong, you can't tell him.
Right, and that's called altruism, and that's the spice of life, I think. Because we all gonna go through some things, but it's kind of how we react to what we go through, because we really can't, foresee what's gonna happen in our future. So,
But what I tell you a long time ago.
My first lesson: proper preparation prevents poor performance.
Exactly. So if you're doing the right things, you're putting in the work, you're doing 2 things, 3 things, 4 things a day towards your goal, towards your dream, it's gonna happen.
Yes, sir.
It's gonna happen because it's gonna get deep in your spirit, and you won't do nothing but be able to regurgitate that, and that's called blessing.
Yeah. And with that being said, let's dovetail into how you spend the majority of your day,
24/7.
which is being a breadwinner 24/7, which is the title of our episode today. And let's kind of talk about the last and final point of least likely to succeed, which is your business ventures. We'll start with the Whip Cafe, which was kind of your first run at delegating authority, and then spin that off into the Whip Hair Designs, and finally end up with the Williams Funeral Home and also the insurance brokerage.
Well, That's a lot of area. You're gonna be coming real fast. But I go in. I thank the Lord for my mom assisted me.
We'll slow
My
it
sister
down.
Bonnie, she came down and helped us out. My niece Mika, she ran it for us. Toby, Spanky. I mean, we had a few guys that was over there. Reggie. I mean, just a few guys that helped us with that business.
And Joe.
My brother Joe. Shouts out to Joe and Hollis Brookfield, Mr. Gabby. You know, they all worked down there with us. His brother helped us out and cleaned up. So I thank the Lord. So many, a lot of times you can't do all this stuff by yourself. I mean, you cannot make it on an island by yourself, especially when you're in business. Big shots out of down at the barbershop, OD, Marshawn, my son, all those guys, that help us with that particular business. And then coming down to the funeral home, the Mr. Henderson and
Funeral directors.
Yeah, all those people that Mr.
Ushers.
Yeah. Erling, Missy Bond,
Angie going.
Yeah, so many people are going to play a part in that.
Lori Cooper.
Lord, it just ain't me, Stacey, yourself and work we do together. But now, what was your question?
My question was how you fit all those businesses into one day.
I start out in the morning time at my barber shop, getting some coffee at my barber shop. Probably cut a couple heads, see what the climate is in there, branch off into some air insurance stuff if we don't have any funeral services going on.
Sure.
Might slip into a community meeting that I know I gotta go to.
So
it's time. So I guess what I'm saying is time management.
Yeah.
Managing your time properly. See, and I get mad at my guys down at the barbershop because I don't think they manage. I don't think they manage their time wisely because my goal ain't their goal.
Yeah.
So I get frustrated with them because I'm thinking they thinking like me, and they not thinking like me just because they
language to them.
I'm talking French, and they Spanish, and I wonder what in the world. Okay, now what? You come to work to be a barber, right? I mean, okay, well it looks like you trying to be a PlayStation expert because we can't get you off the PlayStation. And I'm trying to, and teaching my son. My son knew, he just got out of his barber school. Congratulations, sons, on passing the test and becoming a barber. But, sometimes our role models and the people that we look after, so I leave my son into the hands of a stranger, and now they teaching him how to be the best NBA basketball player on PlayStation there is. I'm like, if you ain't finna go to Vegas and play for $1 million or something, what's the sense of spending your time doing that? Now, here you is want to be a truck driver, but you spending more time being a PlayStation driver than the truck driver. Or you want to be a barber, or you want to be and what I say about barbering, and we can do like this here in life, and maybe even when you have your own business, it's where you want to be. And you can treat, and I wrote a little paper when I first became a cosmetologist, is that you can treat this job as a hustle. It can be just a few dollars,
right.
A few dollars, then you go to the mall somewhere, and then you come back and you steal some more from the block, and then you go back. Or you can treat it as a job, and you only operate it from 9 to 5. 9 to 5, don't talk to me about no haircuts after 5 o'clock. Something gonna happen, because everybody hurt and everybody better. So don't make me shoot you. That's how people be walking around sometimes, frustrated because they ain't doing what they're supposed to do. And they know it. Or you can treat it as a career. Am I finna make me $100,000 or $200,000? If you can, step your game up. Right. Joe Stovall said, put some skin in the game. Right. And so I mean, for me, a lot of we came from humble beginnings. I mean, Jimmy, my buddy, big shouts out to Jimmy Pettigrew. Those guys kept me on point because they smashed all the time. They talked about you. If you didn't look right on the bus, you knew it because they said something. But it made me stronger. It made me become a good smasher. Because I roll you, I get on you. I'll say something.
Good at that.
Because I can defend myself on that. So, but some of those jokes be serious jokes sometimes. And life ain't funny. When you're on the other end of the stick, when you the ones that got on the smack jeans, or you can't afford the Levi's, and you can't afford the nice shoes, and you can't go get a haircut every week, and this, that, you cutting your own hair, and you don't do it so well sometimes, and those type of moments, right, just should be life-altering moments. So 24/7, when sometimes we go to the club, and how sometimes somebody come to you, buy me a drink. What is you in here for? You asking everybody to buy you a drink, you ought to be at home. What we say?
Studying your business plan.
Working on your business plan. Because you in need of a blessing.
Right. And
You in need of
there.
And you at the Legion begging everybody to give you what you should be giving them. Because you're supposed to be a giver. You're supposed to be a lender, not a borrower. See, that's why you need biblical principle. Because that's the blueprint. At least if you're gonna do wrong, at least know what's right. If you're gonna do wrong, at least know what's right so you can get back on the right track. And that's what you asked me, what was church for? That's what church. Now you
finally got to that after 25 minutes.
You might not have to be there all day, 24/7, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, because the real work is in the community.
Yeah,
it's not at the church. So you go to church, get re-energized, get power back up, like we just stuck our phones in the charge back up. Then you go back out that door like, yeah, let's go save somebody.
Yes, sir.
Let's say something good about somebody. Not tote the latest gossip around. Burn your phone up talking about phone. You know? We all come short. We all come short of the glory of God. You know further to the mark than I am. Because we both need salvation. We both gonna need God's grace and mercy to even let us even reach to a kingdom. So, when you see me, I'm no better than you. The same trials and tribulations that you going through, I done went through. Or I might be going through now.
But keep it smiling.
Keep it smiling the whole way. Because that's going to get you to the next step, the next step, the next step. And if you spend more time nursing the problem than you do the solution, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
That'd be horrible.
It's called depression, Stacey.
Yeah, and we'll pick up on
that's
that.
That's what it's called. It's called depression.
Back.
It's called depression.
So, go ahead, Brother Williams. We had dovetailed off on the 24/7 episode, and you had kind of ended your point on the thing of depression.
If you continue to let things get to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I remember Pastor Johnson said, you let people tear you down so much, and the fact that occupying your mind, occupying your day, your time,
right,
on worrying about what they thinking about, and this, that, and other. And he said that you sitting up there can't sleep at night, and here they been sleep.
Right.
So that's called depression. Because if you continuously go through something like that, then it ends up, it can become a mental issue.
Having said that, also, I heard something the other day regarding the level of depression right now in society, with us living in a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week society. But more specifically, you being a veteran and us having served so many veterans over here at the funeral home and their honorable families. Let's talk a little bit about the depression and how it relates to the veterans and the people in the service right now that are committing suicide at the rate of once a day, and how you said depression, but the other side of that coin is rehabilitation, and how we need to seek that wherever we can to kind of kill that pattern.
Stacey, what it made me go through and what it made me think about is what makes a person get to that point.
Right.
And what makes a military person get to that point is there's no balance.
Yeah.
You got to have balance in life. There's no balance, because I remember being in Germany, and I remember going to and so for those guys that's been to Germany, Hornsfeld, Grafenwehr, and they know where that's at. That's a training site. And I remember going there, and we stayed in Hornsfeld for 66 days in the woods. No family, limited amount of calls, limited showers, it was freezing, and that could get you to that point. You're doing a rigorous job my job was a cook, and we was feeding soldiers.
So it was 24/7,
24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's what we were doing, feeding and training. And it can be such a beat down on your body, your uttermost, the last energy that you have, it can beat you down. And so that takes families, and that depresses families, military people, because they're missing families, and then it was high divorce rates and things of that nature. So by dealing with just what life gave you already, and compounded with a military sacrifice, people couldn't even imagine that. I mean, they couldn't even wrap their brains around that, to not knowing if you're going to live or you're going to die. And then, once you get back to your home environment, things aren't the same because you're different. You're thinking about life different. Things, stuff ain't funny no more. You know, and that's the only time when we get to that point where things ain't funny. It ain't too many funny conversations going on in the emergency room.
No, sir.
If you sit in the emergency room, it ain't too many people laughing because folks sick. Well, that's how we ought to feel in life when life ain't going right. You economically sick. You're jobless. You know your employment sick. Yeah. And only time things gonna get better is when you get sick and tired of being tired.
Sick and tired.
Of sick and tired of seeing the same results. Or you keep on waiting on get frustrated with more no's than you get with a yes.
Yes, sir.
And my brother Hub say, don't tell me how many times I can't do it or two reasons why I can't do it. Give me one reason why I can. And those are the things that, a lot of those things, I thank the Lord for people that tapped into me, that taught me something. I was able to sit down and listen. And for our younger viewers out there, listen to somebody sometime. Everybody's not telling you something for it to be bad for you. They're telling it to you for the good. And even if they tell you something bad, you take the good out of what that bad is. Because, because the apple ain't falling too far from a tree. No, so sir. They call it the way they see it. Their perception is their reality.
Yes, sir.
So that teacher that I referred to, I'm not mad. He was calling it the way he seen it.
Right. But he mistook that one.
He didn't put his money on 7, he put his money on 8. To know that the Lord had already blessed it to me to be a winner. Yeah. I want to be a winner. I want to be a winner. Every young person ought to be a winner. You want to make somebody proud.
But let me cut you off right there. We usually call it dovetail, but that being said, we're a very informational program, and we want you to look at us as a wealth of information. So let's not only just complain about what we've become as a 24/7 society, but talk about how we can kind of reverse some of the negativity that's resulted from that, starting with how most United States families don't have one dinner together throughout a work week. Now, that's one thing you can do towards family solidarity, is have one meal together during a work week. Let's just talk about that as the simplest.
Break it down just to the simplest,
precept by precept,
simplest form. First, it starts with you. It starts with you.
And you being who?
You being, if you're the leader of your life, or you might not have kids, but if you're the leader of your family, the family only gonna be as good as the leader.
Yes, sir.
It's only gonna be as good as the leader. So if you ain't spending no time with your kids, don't be mad when he over there in detention center and somebody roughing him up and not showing him love and this because you pretty much did instill that. And I refer back. I used to raise a show line of pit bulls. Big shouts out to Big Boy.
Blue line.
Blue line. Messed around him, sold him some dogs, and so I thank the Lord for you owe me one too. All right, but one thing about it is that I noticed from my dog's behavior, the animal behavior, and the dogs that I spent a lot of time with, they became great dogs. But the dogs I didn't spend that much time with, oh man, they were knuckleheads. They wouldn't listen to me. I tell them to sit down and they stand up. I tell them to lay down and they go the other way or something. They bark. So, but that was because I didn't spend time with them. So then when they got 2 or 3 or 4 years old, it was almost too late because my training level wasn't that high to be able to deal with that. You got to get training when they're a pup.
And as that relates to children, educators would call those the formative years between roughly 2 and 4 years old as being the most preeminent years, because after 4 years old, a child's values are pretty much formed at that point. So it's real interesting that dogs mirror that same human behavior.
Oh yeah, oh definitely, and I noticed it. That was my scientific observation.
Sure, that's what it was.
That's exactly what it was. So, I've been dealing with it for years and years and years. You start to learn a little something, pick up. And you wonder why Diamond act better than, Butch, you know what I'm saying? And so, and I found out that it was amount of time. So you definitely got to spend time into yourself. So 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you got to spend time working on you so that you can be a blessing to your wife, your kids, your mom, your dad. Yeah, and it's a trickle down effect. And then that spreads. Heart to heart, breast to breast, that spreads. So if you're a positive, energetic light for somebody, then that's going to connect with you. Now we got two lights.
Sure.
Fight for God, fight for, righteousness.
And exponential growth.
Exactly. And then we tap into Lori. Now Lori, she's going in her climate, she's going in her circle, and she's bouncing off of us, and she's going to change things in her. That's 3 more lights. Now we talk about a community, 70, 80,000 in Champaign, another 60, 70,000 in Urbana, and then don't go county-wide on us, and then don't mess around and tap into the University of Illinois.
Or a whole lot of the donut.
Come on, man, and then that builds up community. And that's a healthy community. When everybody, you see a light over the top of Champaign. I ride into Champaign sometime off the highway at night, and you can see the lights lit up, and that's the way God would want our lives to be lit up.
Yeah.
But we let hurts, habits, and hang-ups hang us up, and so 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can't spend 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in my business.
Right.
Because then you can't take care of your business. Because you're too much worried about my business. And I got people I'm keeping it real with you. I got people in my life like that. People in my business. Don't worry about my business, worry about your business. It look like I'm trying to take care of my business.
You're doing quite
well, what I'm saying?
Sir.
But, find out about your business. And I'm not saying, I'm just really keeping it real, because those are the things that's going to make you better, because it ain't about me, it's about you, And so, and that makes us better as a community. We don't have to fight for somebody else to come in and do what we can do for our own community.
One thing I also want to kind of, go deeper, some things that you just said in that last vignette there, is 24/7, and how, as hard as things have gotten, how literally you've got to be analyzing and reanalyzing 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, because of how fast things are going. And to kind of and latch on to the Broadway musical show Rent again, they had indicated that there's 525,600 minutes in a day, and how fast that flies by every year. And that just kind of reminded me of that.
Stacey, reflecting back on that just recently, to thank the Lord for graciously allowing me to see another birthday. I thank the Lord for that. 43 years old.
Another 500,000 minutes.
I remember being 16. I remember being 26. And the time just go by so fast. One thing you can't get back in life is time. You can't get back the time. So when you waste your time in maybe a relationship that ain't good, that's time. You waste your time, doing some things
on addiction.
Yeah, on an addiction, doing drugs. That's you wasted maybe 4 or 5 years of your time. You wasted time on a job where you should have had your own business.
And then you want to say the job let you down.
Exactly. And then when they end up going belly up because the CEO, the leader, then went to Vegas to jag the business off, then you mad at them. But you allowed yourself for somebody else to be the controller of your life. And a lot of times that's what people want, is control of you. And that's when they get most frustrated with you, when they can't control you. And the only person that should be controlling you is God. That's the only focus that you should have with control. And that's just what I really deep in my heart feel. And a lot of times people try to control you. They try to operate you, make you work off of their island, off their program, their blueprint, only for the good of them. But what about for the good of you? You got to see yourself in the details, because you're a blessing too. So, you got to see yourself in there. And I always remember, not everybody mean you no good. And the lady told me that when I first opened up the whip. And me and Miel and my wife and a bunch of my friends, we went down there. Oh, we'd open the barber shop.
Oh, boy.
Party. And as soon as I got to saying that, I went to the bathroom, and a girl was over there with her face rolled up, because everybody ain't happy about your success, Sean. And her face was rolled up. But when she said it, heart to heart, breast to breast, It brought me, okay, now I gotta focus.
Right.
Focus. Because is this gonna be a hustle? Is it gonna be a job? Or is it gonna be an outstanding career?
Yeah.
And you determine that. And it's a choice. And we all got them choices out there to say we want to do it or we don't. And a lot of times, the only thing that holds you back from being that person that you're supposed to be is the knuckleheads and the chatter that's in the back, saying, you can't do that, or you ain't gonna be able to do that, you won't be successful, you're least likely to succeed. And the only thing holding you back is you. And that chatter is throwing us off, distractions. It's the devil, kill, steal, destroy, give up, throw in the towel, do like my brother James, take your life. But you can't take a life that ain't yours. That's God's choice. You get back up. When I see this guy, you get back up. You brush back off. Don't let that girl throw you off.
Yeah.
She won. You want to be the winner. See, I don't get so fascinated about LeBron James. I don't even know who won last night between the Magic and Miami and Boston. But Miami won.
Miami.
Okay. Got free haircuts coming in for that. They know what I'm talking about, my guys at the shop. But I don't even watch that in basketball like that. I don't pay attention to that because 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. How am I gonna be a good barbershop guy, barbershop owner? How am I gonna be a good funeral home director when I'm dealing with folks and their families and their lives and their importance right now? If I'm worried about LeBron James hitting 40, man, I don't care about LeBron James hitting 40 points. He ain't gonna give me a dime.
He'll probably try to lend you a dime.
Man, I'd have put 5 guys in the NBA, 3 guys in the NFL through that chair. You know, I talked to some of them guys. I mean, guys came by my house, ate oatmeal pies, drank juice. Well, not one of them guys came back and replaced that. But I'm not mad at them guys. And we talked about this before. I'm not mad at them guys. What them guys taught me is shine, get it for yourself. It was a tough love. And you know what it was? And when tragedy happens to me or something goes wrong, it's another one of those left, right, bolo. Left, right, bolo. That's another moment of that. It's a left, right, bolo moment. But it's a teachable moment. It's a learnable moment. And it's learning for me. It said, okay, don't put your faith in that no more. Because you put your faith in something, man. And man gonna let you down. They're not gonna get back to you the way you think they should get back. I thought maybe those guys make it to the NBA, come back here, man, got me a nice barber shop and this, that, and other. I was already struggling. I was still struggling. But you know,
new Ben.
You know, I was
the silver Ben.
I mean, at that time,
Cadillac.
But at that time, you know, those guys called me on the flow.
They wanted to beat you.
You know, flow. Exactly. Well, no, at that time, Stacey, I mean, just opening up my shop. I'm just trying to get on the right path. I mean, my car stopping on my wife, you know, and
oh boy,
you know what type of time that was. That was a wreck, you know. And so I'm trying to upgrade on the vehicle, you know, so she can drive comfortably, you know, because I mean, guys don't have your girl out there the car stopping on.
That's a bad.
You know, things of that nature. You know, how you try to get your girl, step your game up, so you get your girl in something that can make it from A to B. You know, with some air, you know, and a hot day like this here, you know, and, you know, because I mean that's how you should treat that. You should be a light. If God has all these blessings for us to tap into, you should be a reflection of that blessing. Is what I'm trying to say, and your family should reflect that blessing. So we all got a lot of work to do, hard work to do, you know, and so don't give up. Just keep it pushing 24/7.
That being said, on the 24/7 thing. What you really described in reverse was my next topic under, or precept, if you will, under the 24/7 topic, which is how through various readings of USA Today and different journals, how we as a society in the 24/7 society, to be more specific, Generation X, Generation Y, in the millennial group, have become pathologically impatient. And that's really kind of encapsulates what you kind of said in a roundabout way, is how we become somewhat of a microwave generation, and we want success yesterday, and we don't put the time or work into reaping that harvest.
You know, Stacey, I don't watch a lot of basketball now. but I used to.
We both did.
I used to.
Yeah.
And it made me think of the microwave, Benny Johnson. And the microwave, the reason why they called it the microwave, because he was fast. He up and down, sent it up and down, of course.
He put it in the hole.
He put it right in the hole. So you gotta be able to eat your weeds to be able to hang with Benny Johnson. And so what happened is that in life, we want it right now. We want to put as less effort in something, and we want right now. You know, we want my car right now. We don't want to be able to be the guy that walked a million days, didn't have driver's license, drove a bucket, had the car stop on it.
Shine that bucket till the paint came off.
Oh man, see, a lot of times people think that they're going to change once they get to Robeson West. If you ain't cutting your yard in Garden Hills, what makes you think you'll cut your yard in Robeson West? If the Lord bless you, you hit the lottery overnight, and then you end up in Robeson West. You're going to be the worst neighbor in Robeson West, and everybody going to want you out the neighborhood. You know, so you got to take care of what God has blessed you with right now. And so I understand that with the raggedy car.
Right.
With the raggedy car, I took care of that car, I shined that car. If the engine wasn't that tight, but the paint was shining. You know, I had the rust shining. And I remember Jackie Bonner, he gave me my first set of rims back in the day on a 72 Malibu Chevelle that I had in school. And I got that car through going to the military for that summer, and then coming back and bought a car from an older gentleman for $400. Well, I wish I had that car now. You know, but you got to go through those milestones, those trivial points to be able to build up what you are. You know, because even when doing insurance, you know, doing an insurance sale, did an insurance sale with an older gentleman, 73, with cancer. A lot of companies can't get him in. He was happy that we can get him in. And then behind that, I looked up and I ran it back on you, and I got the feedback like, man, I made so and so on that.
Right.
That particular case.
So-and-so.
Big so-and-so. And I said, man, if guys knew that they could be an insurance agent and insure people, make them feel happy about getting life insurance, and then helping people. And then when you get to the bank, the company that help you and help you in such a way you would think that I went to U of I. But we don't like to tap into nothing. You know, we're doing what we're seeing, and we're not trying new things. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, try something different.
Just one day. Try
something different. Try to meet somebody outside your race. Step across the line. The party lines is what they say in politics. And you might find out it's just a friend. I mean, a lot of times we try to dress up where our blessings come from. Oh, I want my blessings to look like this. It better come this time. It better come, you know, dressed up just like this. Be careful how you entertain strangers, because that might be an angel. That might be your blessing. And because it don't look visually to you the way it should look, you missed out.
Yeah.
You missed out at tapping in.
That angel.
You missed that angel.
And there's only a few that come.
Man, how many times does opportunity come into people's lives? You know,
not many.
You know, problems gonna come. That's a given. Keep living. My grandma used to say, keep living. You'll learn. Keep living. Keep going through. Keep waking up every day. And keep not changing things. I love that song, Watch God Change Things. Because if you're doing what you're supposed to do, God gonna do what he's supposed to do. Because you're doing what you're supposed to do. But if you spend 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you ain't nowhere clear to nothing, close to nothing biblical, close to nothing righteous, close to nothing that's lawful. People wonder why people end up in jail sometimes. Because you're doing criminal activity 17 hours a day. You're hanging with buddies that's doing criminal activity. You know, everybody in your circle thinking about something wrong. How we gonna come up, man? That's hit a lick. Everything a lick.
Instead of earning.
Man.
Earn.
Man. You should
work.
You should a hard day's work for a hard day's what is that? A hard day's
for a fair day's pay.
Yeah, for a good day's pay. You know, putting in the hard work. And I always tell, you know, I always say to some of my, me and my brother talked about it, and we just talked about this really deep, and I'm gonna get it in. On Memorial Day, we was riding around, and I told my brother, we was reflecting back on slavery, and we reflected back on the civil rights movement and things of that nature. And I said, man, and the charges to my head and not to my heart, because I'm gonna keep it 100 with you across the board, whether you like it or not. But one thing about it, I said, man, if Dr. Martin Luther King and the people that got sprayed with water hoses and all the people that got hung by a tree so high we couldn't even imagine, and all those people that put skin in the game for us to be able to have the freedoms that we have right now, sitting in this funeral home, operating on our television program, man, and if they see the way we have took their sacrifice and stomped on it, we don't care if the bus even come no more. We're not even doing what we're supposed to do as far as a race of people to that degree. If they could see that, they'd probably stayed on that farm. Or if I knew my great-grandson was going to be running around with his pants sagging down, do-rag on his head at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, not looking for no job. If he was going to be doing his mama like that, disrespectful. If our older people got the opportunities that we have today with a touch of a click of a button to just get that knowledge. My mama talked about she had to walk 10 miles to get to the schoolhouse. And here we got a school right in front of us, a library right in front of us.
Don't use it.
Stuff right in our neighborhood, and don't even use it. They're not exchanging computers at the library because they're overused. They're changing because they're outdated.
Yeah.
And they're dusty and they're not getting used. And that's a shame. So we got to do something about ourselves. And I don't leave it up to nobody else to do it for us, Stacey. That's why I wanted the TV program. Let me put this word out. Because somebody got to put the word, somebody got to sound the alarm. Because I know we're about to close. I know we're about to close, but I get depressed when I go to these community meetings and everybody saying, what's wrong? What the problem is? And we looking at each other and they looking at the mayor and they looking at the city manager and they looking at this. You got to put it's the man, it's Michael Jackson, it's the man in the mirror. It's we, it's us. We wrong. And that's one thing about rehabilitation. You got to admit that you're hurt. You got to admit that you're confession. You got to have repentance and confession to say, hey, look, I'm dead wrong. And that's the only way, that's where salvation come in at. Because you're admitting that you're wrong. Now that allows community to heal, salvation, deliverance. That's peace. It's not depression, it's peace.
Right.
It's a big difference.
God is peaceful.
God is peaceful. It's always peaceful and love. And that's what should be regurgitated throughout the community. Peace and love.
Thanks again for another great episode.
I thank the Lord for you, Lord. Thank the Lord for you. Mr. Henderson turned 88 years old. Thank the Lord for his great tutelage. And I thank the Lord for you great listeners out there. Let the truth be told.